and a very good morning to you, and a warm welcome to our guest this morning on the Talk of the Town, Dr. Harini Amarasuriya from the NPP. Good morning to you, Dr. Harini.
Good morning, Faraz.
Thank you very much for being on our program. As Sri Lanka sort of traverses through this economic nightmare and so on, we know that the international lenders have not been come to an agreement yet, and the IMF are here, and something's going on in Geneva. And in the meantime, they've passed this, or they're debating this anti-terrorism bill. Is there anything different from the PTA?
No, not significantly and not substantively. As you know, when this was previously gazetted, the biggest critique was about the very loose definition of terrorism, which basically infringes on the people's right to expression, right? Freedom of expression, and that hasn't changed at all, right? It's a very cosmetic change, if at all, and doesn't really do anything to the huge kind of problems that are implicit in this very, very bad bill that has been drafted, which I can only say is nothing about preventing terrorism or the need to prevent. It's nothing about terrorism. It is about controlling dissent.
And when you say that, and then when you look at the mathematics of it all, the government of the day seems to have a majority in parliament. So, do you think that they really give a tuppence about what the people think? And do you think they're planning something almost sinister, like what they did like dear JR did in back in the days, and trying to extend the life of parliament?
Well,
Is that why they don't care?
no. So, no, yes, I don't think this government cares a tuppence for the people. I think that's very clear, that's very obvious. But regarding the most sinister thing that you're suggesting, that's not possible. The JR government was a very different government. It had popular support. And even JR, when he had to extend the duration, when he wanted to extend the duration of the parliament, had to hold a referendum, which he won, right? Rightly, wrongly, corrupt or not, he won the referendum. And I mean, there was a fair amount of support for JR at that time. That's not the case with this government, right? That's not the case with this. This government is deeply unpopular. This government has been rejected by the people. This government is afraid to go for an election because they fear the rejection that they are going to face. So that repetition in that way, as what happened during JR's time, is simply not possible. Anyway, the parliament has 2 more years to go. The parliamentary elections are only due in 2025. So I don't think we need to worry about the government trying to extend the duration of the parliament in some underhand way as yet.
What about, is it on the same vein then? Is it possible to extend the term of the presidency?
No, that is not possible. That is constitutionally impossible. The constitution is very clear. That the presidential election has to be held by the end of the tenure of the current president, and that's November 19, 2024. There is no power that the president or the parliament has have to extend that duration. They have to go before the people.
Even if they have a referendum?
They can't hold a referendum to extend they have to hold a referendum to agree to extend the period of the presidency, plus get a 2/3 majority in parliament, which they currently don't have.
Right. Can I ask you this question? Are you worried at all? Remember what happened in Israel? Parliament passed some piece of legislation that said that basically they can do what they like and they don't have to go to the Supreme Court. I'm simplifying it, but that is in essence what it was. It caused the people of Israel a lot of angst, but nevertheless it was passed. Are you concerned that that might repeat itself in this country?
Well, they can continue, I mean, not with regard to the duration of the presidency, that they can't do, right? Whether they will try other things to increase the powers of the presidency, bring in more laws like the Anti-Terrorism Act that can control dissent among people. All of these kinds of things, I mean, the possibilities are there, and we will just have to keep fighting those, right? So, I mean, yes, I mean, this government is going to try everything they can to remain in power, but there are limits to that. There are also limits because this is a deeply unpopular government dealing with a huge economic crisis for which they do not have any answers, right? So they can't sort of, it's essentially an unstable government, and that doesn't augur well for them trying to, continue to stay in power.
What a pity that I don't have another 6 minutes, because I could have then asked you whether for you to sort of articulate your party's solution to this thing, but I can't. But I'll ask you this very quick question. Does your party have a plan which this government doesn't have to recover from this economic nightmare?
Yes, because we have a plan
Good.
A, which this government doesn't have, and we have a plan that is actually focused on fixing the country, which is completely not what this government intends to do anyway.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, for being on the Talk of the Town. It's now back to the studio with that wonderful duo, Dom and Asanka, on the Morning Fix. Thank you.